Are you looking for some art collab ideas? In this video, I'll be telling you about this completely new art challenge, plus my process for making a character reference sheet. If you want to participate in something like this in the future, come and join my Discord server. Heads up, we got a pretty big art fight scene if, you know what I mean. If you know, you know. Let's get to explaining, shall we? I like to compare it to a Secret Santa. There's an organizer, and the amount of participants is flexible. People are randomly assigned to someone, and you're tasked with having a gift by a deadline. The presents are exchanged, and people take a guess as to who the mystery gifters are. If that kind of thing's your jam, and you happen to like art too, well, you just might like this. I call it the Masquerade Art Challenge, it being themed around a masquerade ball, a formal event where participants attend in costumes and masks. Here's everything you're going to need before moving on. Do you have a group in mind? Well, good. We're moving on to the phases now. To start off, the organizer of the event is tasked with providing participants with a random color and animal to base their costume off of. This is all done privately, by the way. Once the outfit and prompt is received, participants will need to submit a character reference sheet by a set deadline in order to be eligible for the next phase. In my community's case, the deadline was around 3 weeks after the event was first announced. So phase 1 was all about getting assigned your costume prompt and submitting your character sheet to the organizer. At this point, the organizer will randomly assign people a partner. In addition to this, they will also pass along the ref sheet as well. Only aliases will be used, and communication with your partner is not allowed. If you have any questions, ask the organizer to relay it. Now that you have a partner as well as their character reference, your final art task is to draw an illustration featuring both your character and their character interacting at the masquerade ball. There will be another deadline, and once it ends and all artworks are submitted, the final phase can begin. In total, each duo should have a total of 4 artworks. There should be 2 character sheets from each, as well as 2 illustrations that have both characters included. The final phase is basically reveal day. You can go about this however you'd like, though in my case, I streamed it. The organizer of the event sent me all of the submissions, and I put the duo names on a wheel to decide the order of the reveal. From there, we did an art showcase, and we all tried to guess who made what. So, sometimes it was obvious because of the art style, though it was extremely fun regardless to see what people came up with. You can check that out here actually if you want to see how it played out. For the rest of this video, I'm going to be talking about my process and any advice I have for making something like this. At the end, I'll show you the final art from the thumbnail, so go ahead and stick around for that. I was assigned the prompt Silver Butterfly, which was cool because butterflies are one of my top 3 animals. I wanted to somewhat disguise myself, though also kinda knew that my art style would likely be recognizable. At the beginning, all I knew was that I wanted to stick with a formal look while still pulling inspiration from NEXUS, a place in my lore. To sum it up, it's a high-tech city in an alternate world, known especially for the mass adoption of brain implants. I like to imagine that there's a strong formal wear scene that blends in glowy tech elements. Honestly, my soda already kinda had that going on for them. Debut in June, by the way. Though this time around, I wanted to change up the silhouette. I was loving the boy Lolita sort of look when researching, and I ended up with this design featuring tall boots, shorts, a cape, and butterfly wings! Yeah! I even had this butterfly mask design here that I decided to draw more of with these little close-up drawings here. I was basically trying to imagine what I'd look like with different expressions when wearing a mask. These were a lot of fun to make, and it got me really excited to work on this reference sheet since honestly, I normally don't put too much effort into them. Like here, you can check out this first official reference I had over here from Art Fight. It got the job done, and sometimes that's all you need. Anyway, I went on to mess with the layout. I wanted to make use of the space the best I could while also considering some other helpful details, like including the alias as where I might place the color palette. When I was done with that, I worked on the line art. I've honestly been enjoying the clean look that line art gives, though it can be pretty time-consuming and honestly not all that fun to look at since it's just boring black lines. I guess it can be especially noticeable for people like me, well, you maybe, who might find color to be one of the best parts to both do and see. I went with the dark blue and silver color palette because, well, my assigned alias, I guess, was Silver Butterfly. Just made sense, you know. After putting down the base colors, I started working on the silver lining of this illustration. Yeah, that was a joke. I applied a gradient effect to it, and then I did my usual thing I like to do, which is make it glow, because glowy things, I love glowy things. If there's anything you need to know about me, it's I like glowy things. That's it, that's all, there's nothing else you need to know about me, Phoenix Mask. I just like night vibes and glowy vibes. There's actually one tip I do know about character sheets, is that it's actually more ideal to like keep it with flat colors. But I mean, I feel like there's a room for both, you know, like gradients kind of get the idea across that, I mean, like, yeah, there's a transition of colors happening here. You want to like convey the idea, and I'm like, I think that's important in a character reference, just as it is as making it useful for like another artist. I know some artists are probably more particular about like shades of colors. For me, I'm kind of a little bit more loosey-goosey with it, because I'm always like someone who likes to draw characters in unnatural lighting or something, right? When you think about it from that angle, it's like the colors just change drastically anyway. That's probably more of my own, like, special talent, I guess, as an artist. It's being able to pick colors and kind of make it work. Because at that point, you're just kind of messing with filters, and there's nothing really else to it. When it comes to these additional drawings, I feel like they're purely, like, a bonus. Like, you don't need them, but this is, like, another thing. So, the character sheets that convey the actual representation of a drawing, so which includes gradients at times too, right? But then there's also character sheets that can also include like expressions or even more details on like specific objects that are like important to the character, right? So you're going to want to see like maybe like, I don't know, an accessory turnaround or something, especially if you want people to actually get it right. And so in the end, I kind of feel like character sheets are more about what you feel is important to convey to someone else who might want to draw your character. It doesn't really matter if you do like a full sheet like me, or if you just do a simple character design. Like, what do the people need? Where are you going to let them like fill in the gaps for anything that your reference isn't providing? In this specific case, I just wanted to go completely all out in filling it up and making it aesthetic or whatever, right? Having all these little bonus things, because I'm like, well, when else am I going to get an opportunity to like, I don't know, have fun with it? In the sense like, hey, if this is going to be in a showcase, I want to feel proud about this, you know? I want to like advance my skills. I want to be like, yeah, I've made a character reference sheet. When I first started the illustration, I kind of approached it more like a painting. So it was basically just me considering what kind of mood I wanted to have and if I was going to do anything fancy schmancy with it. And my fancy thing was kind of having this interesting like lower camera angle, I guess. That was the main idea I had going forward with this. And the background, it was an actual journey. In some ways, I kind of regret losing what I started with. You'll know what I'm talking about as you go through this, but honestly, I kind of feel like that's how things are with painting sometimes. Like somehow sketches or just roughs somehow convey an idea more fluidly than a more polished piece. It kind of loses something almost when you start going for it, but it also is impressive in other ways too, like just like investing all this time in like doing line art, for example, and then all the fun you get to have just messing around with effects. As you've watched this time-lapse, I think you can kind of notice the steps I take. It's like, okay, get your idea down, then maybe a cleaner sketch, then polish that further, lay down your flats, add in the special stuff. You know, it's like, it's the same thing, at least like for this art style, and I like it for that reason. It's like consistent. It's like I can easily, it's a lot easier to kind of imagine the transfer of this look to this kind of drawing and this kind of style. Once you have like the proportions down too, it's a lot easier to kind of guesstimate where things would be, especially when you're working with like a unique angle like this. So I worked on the shading and the finer details, and slowly it started coming together. Again, the background, I don't know what happened. Things happened. I don't know, maybe you like it. Like, let me know in the comments, do you like the background, or do you like it at an earlier stage? I don't know, I feel like I lost something again. If there's like one weakness I think I definitely have, it's just like figuring out background stuff, you know? It's like working with perspective, considering doing line art, I guess. Like I could have just like Gaussian blurred the whole background, which I mean I sort of did in the end, but I mean that's always a hack, you know? It always works out. It gives like that atmosphere, gives that like camera feeling to it, you know, with I forgot the terminology. I used to know the terminology. But yeah, I think that just about concludes it. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you for everyone who participated in this event. And after watching all of this, if there's one takeaway I want you to have, it's that you should be on my Discord server, and you should potentially participate in other events that come up, because we love those here. Also, remember to subscribe. I have a VTuber debut coming out in early June, so please go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to see when that goes live. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye!